and welcome to the 146th Foxborough Memorial Day event. My name is Ali Rodriguez, and I am the Director of Veteran Services for this great town and have been since January. I would like to introduce to you Pastor Bill Dudley from Union Church, and please stand for the invocation.
Harvey Nesbitt. Harvey Nesbitt was Foxborough High School, class of 1937. Harvey was active in the Boy Scouts in Foxborough as a boy. I can picture him here on the Common, which looked in his day very much as it does today. After graduating in 1937, Harvey enlisted in the United States Navy for a 4-year hitch. But in 1941, as the clouds of war were on the horizon, he re-enlisted. He was stationed in Pearl Harbor. Harvey Nesbitt, who once roamed on this common, was there when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii on December 7th, 1941, the day that will live in infamy. 2 years later, Harvey Nesbitt was aboard the submarine Carina, which left Pearl Harbor, refueled in the Pacific on November 6, 1943, and was never seen again. A happy, productive young man from Foxborough, class of 1937, who left for the Navy, is still somewhere on the floor of the Pacific in a submarine that has never been located. Harvey is one of 29 citizens of Foxborough who are commemorated by the memorials to your left and my right in 29 locations around town that we never forget those who paid the ultimate price. Let's dedicate by prayer this day of remembrance. Father, you founded this great nation as a haven for those seeking freedom. Through countless wars to protect the gift of liberty, many brave men and women have paid the ultimate price. Thank you for their courage. Give us humbled and grateful hearts today as we pause to remember. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Elaine Bagari.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now for our national anthem, sung by Faith Perry and accompanied by the Foxborough High School Marching Band.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the
Please take your seats if you have one. I'd like to thank you all for taking a few moments out of your busy lives and honoring our fallen heroes with me. This day is not about backyard barbecues. It is about paying respect and remembering those who fought so courageously but were unable to make it home. Every year, the governor of Massachusetts issues a proclamation of what Memorial Day is. To read that proclamation is George Potenza from Foxborough High School.
The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a proclamation. Whereas, while the nation was still recovering from the horrors of the Civil War, people in cities and towns across the country gathered to honor those Union and Confederate soldiers who had given their lives celebrating the first Decoration Day. And whereas, after World War I, the nation came together again to honor those who had fallen in service of their country. Renamed Memorial Day, the last Monday in May is when people remember and honor the memory of all the men and women who fought and died in all American wars and conflicts. And whereas throughout our country's history, thousands of Massachusetts citizens have fought in wars and conflicts to defend our safety and way of life. And whereas their legacy and of patriotism and dedication to country is an inspiration to all Americans. And whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who gave their lives so that their sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. Now, therefore, I, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim May 27th, 2019 to be Memorial Day, and urge all the citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Giving at the Executive Chamber in Boston this first day of May in the year 2019, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 242nd. By His Excellency, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth, Karen E. Polito, Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth, and William Francis Galvin, Secretary of the Commonwealth. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
And now, because I love patriotic songs, please join me in welcoming the Foxborough Regional Charter Acapella group made up of Ashley Plaisett, Darvani Charles, Alex Bonilla, and Jade Moynihan, who will sing America the Beautiful. I really encourage everyone to sing along. We all know the words, and I promise, no judgment.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains.
introduce to you Massachusetts Representative F.J. Barrows.
Thank you and good morning to all. I'd like to take a moment and recognize all those among us who have served and the thousands of men and women who are currently serving this country. Special gratitude to anyone here that has lost a loved one in service. We're humbled by your sacrifices, as we know they are great, and we commend the demonstration of courage and strength that you have no doubt shown throughout the most difficult times. Today we honor those who have carried the torch of freedom into the farthest corners of the world, and we honor generations of Americans who have selfishly answered their nation's call to defend. On this day, we recognize the men and women who gave their life defending this great country and defending those who could not defend themselves. Our thoughts and prayers are with them and their families on this day of remembrance. I hope that each of us today will continue to remember all those who have served our country, both living and deceased. If you see a name of a fallen soldier in the news, take a moment to say a prayer for our fallen hero and their family, to ask God to comfort those who are grieving and to console a bereaved widow. To quote former President George H.W. Bush, each of the patriots whom we remember on this day was first a beloved son or a daughter, a brother or a sister, a spouse, a friend, or a neighbor. If you happen to see one of our service members in uniform, take a moment to offer your gratitude and prayers. These are simple acts that mean the world to our servicemen and women, and let us never hesitate in offering them. I thank you all for joining in today's Memorial Day tribute. I hope you will keep our military men and women and their sacrifices made close to your heart today and throughout the rest of the year. God bless America and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Thank you.
Next up to the podium is Massachusetts State Senator Paul Feeney.
Thank you and good morning. Thank you all for being here, especially for those that brought young children. It's great to see Foxboro firefighters, Foxboro police, our scouts serving as our honor guard this morning. It's an honor to have the opportunity to be among each of you as we show reverence and respect to generations of men and women lost while in the service of our country. By taking these precious moments to gather, to reflect, and to remember, the activities of this Memorial Day weekend, including this ceremony, are a necessary and appropriate reminder of those lost and our obligation to keep their memory alive. The parades, the ceremonies, the pomp and circumstance on display here, across the Commonwealth, and across this country are all outward signs of our duty to collectively honor the individuals lost in defense of our values. But it's truly those silent, somber, personal, and poignant moments, thoughts, and prayers that lie in the depths of our hearts, not necessarily on the tip of our tongues, known only to us, that mean the most in our solemn obligation to mourn for those lost, believing in a cause greater than themselves. Mourning for the men and women who left the comforts of their past behind to fight in their present, knowing that the future of our nation and our families was worth their sacrifice. Today we gather with each other in sincere reverence to reflect on the sadness of loss of those that made the ultimate sacrifice for us. That inherent sadness, however, must not carry the day. It should be equally matched with immense gratitude. Gratitude that every generation in this country contains people that are truly men and women for others, who have the courage, the conviction, and the passion to stand up for our values, to fight for our communities, for our families, and to sacrifice their own lives so that we may live ours in freedom. No matter our differences, no matter our views, no matter our backgrounds, no matter our policies, no matter our politics, we come together enjoying that freedom that they fought for, around our shared set of American values, to honor their lives by giving hope to our future. That is who we are as a community, Foxboro. That is who we are as a Commonwealth, as a nation. That is who we are as a people. So please enjoy the rest of this Memorial Day with your family and friends. Have a wonderful and safe summer, and may God bless our veterans, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Please allow me to introduce the Chief of Staff to Norfolk County Sheriff Jarek McDermott, Deputy Sheriff Greg Casey.
On behalf of Sheriff Jerry McDermott and the men and women of the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office, thank you all for being here. Thank you for taking part in this amazing day here in Foxborough. To see all the public safety officials, the scouts, and all the residents here every year is such an amazing tradition. And it's really something that we must do, continue to do, so that everyone understands the great sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice that so many made before us. And we need to continue to come together and remind each generation of all those that have gone and made sure that we now have the freedoms that we enjoy every day, and that we can be here to express ourselves, and we can pay tribute to the amazing liberties that you can find nowhere else in the world today. So it's a special place, and Foxborough is a special place. Thank you all to let me be here today. Thank you.
Our next speaker is no stranger to these events, and certainly no stranger to the community. Please allow me to welcome Board of Selectmen Chair, Mr. Mark Elfman.
Good morning, everybody. What a glorious day for Memorial Day, and what a great turnout we have today. I come from a military family. My father was the youngest of 3 boys. His oldest brother joined the Marines at 16, turned 17 on Iwo Jima, served all the battles of his division, and came home. My father's middle brother served in Korea, Vietnam, made the military his service, retired after 21 years. And my dad, he served, I guess he was called a Cold War veteran. Served down in Fort Gordon in Georgia. As a matter of fact, I was born at the University Hospital in Augusta, Georgia. They were the greatest generation, and I'm part of the baby boomers. And we grew up, watching the war movies with John Wayne and so forth, and the glorious battles that went on and the movies that we saw. I was a little kid, fascinated by my 2 uncles who didn't really live close to us, so we didn't see him very often. But when he came home, and especially Uncle Bobby from World War II, started pestering him, what was it like? Tell me about the heroes. And he was the first time I ever heard, in a solemn voice, the real heroes were the ones that never came home. And as a young kid, I really didn't understand it, but I respected my uncle. And then years later, when Uncle Mickey stopped traveling throughout the world and came to visit us, sort of the same question. I was a little bit older. What was it like being in Vietnam? And he pretty much said the same thing. The real heroes were the ones that came home in caskets. You get a little bit older, you realize the fragility of life a little bit. Grandparents pass away, and then someone close passes away, and you realize on a day like today what sacrifice and giving back to your country really means. It's not like it was in the movies. It's real, and it's close, and you sort of have second thoughts about war. Well, yeah, definitely have second thoughts about war. It's not what John Wayne said it was. It's real. And I had a patient who came in. He was a Iraqi war veteran, disabled. And on the back of his T-shirt, he had, let me get it right. I'm going to make sure I get it right. All gave some, and some gave all. And that really hit me. You really sit back, you really think about what it means to be a young adult, joining the military, going off to war. And I'm more fascinated now than ever of all of you that served, the ones that came back, and certainly what this day is all about, the ones that didn't. So certainly to all the veterans out there, thank you for your service, and thank you for the townspeople for coming out today. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker to the podium is the reason I'm standing here, my boss, and your town manager, Mr. Bill Keegan.
Good morning, everyone. On this glorious spring day, we gather here on the historical common to remember and to honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for this nation, this Commonwealth, and this community. As we honor those who have served in the many wars and conflict that this country has participated in and to defend democracy, I ask you to take a special note of the newest monument on the common. It is the monument dedicated to those who have served this country to protect us in the global war on terrorism. While we are fortunate to not have lost anyone from Foxborough in those conflicts, we do honor and remember the many who have served and who have returned to this place they call home. Some have been injured, some have been scarred by the atrocities of war, and for them, we should provide them with the extra support that they need so they can continue to live a healthy and productive lives. But most of all, we should honor them for the service that they have provided to all of us so that we can live and continue and live in a free nation. Before I close, I want to take this opportunity to thank Ali Rodriguez, our newest Veteran Service Officer, for the great work she has done today. Hasn't she done a great job today? And of course, to Mike Johns, who supported her in trying to give her the reins for this project today. So I'm sure Mike is happy to be sitting here today instead of doing this. So, I also wanted to thank the members of the Fire and Police Department who are gathered here today to help support this event, and to thank you for all you do for this community. I also want to thank the Public Works Department for doing such a great job getting the common in such wonderful condition for this weekend. They do a terrific job, and they do it every day, so thank you for them as well. And finally, I want to thank the Board of Selectmen, all the veterans who are here with us today, and all of you for being here today for this event. Foxborough is a community rich in history and tradition, and that's because of all of you who come out each year to support these great community events. Thanks for allowing me to be here today, and I hope you all have a happy and safe remainder of this holiday weekend. Thank you.
Our guest speaker has served 30 combined years in every Army component, that's active, guard, and reserve. His last duty assignment held was G3, Training and Exercises, Area of Operations Chief, United States Army Central Command, Forward. A graduate of Command and General Staff School, he holds a master's degree in Communication, Integrated Marketing from LaSalle College, and a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology and Criminal Justice from the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. Lieutenant Colonel Mckenna held the following positions, and there's a lot of them. Infantry Rifle Platoon Leader, Mortar Platoon Leader, Executive Officer and Infantry Company Commander, Battalion Support Platoon Leader and S2 Battalion Intelligence Officer, Brigade S3 Air, Battalion S3 Operations Officer, Liaison Officer, 29th Infantry Division, Detachment Commander, 126th Military History Detachment, Public Affairs Officer, State of Massachusetts, Media Operations Officer, European Command, Army Reserve Element, Chief, G3, Training and Exercises, U.S. Army Central. Overseas assignments include Germany, Bosnia, Iraq, and Kuwait. Lieutenant Colonel McKenna's awards and decorations: Legion of Merit, Bronze Star, and Meritorious Service Medal, 2nd Award. Armed Forces Reserve Medal with MU device, 2nd Award. Army Commendation Medal, 3rd Award. Army Achievement Medal, Joint Meritorious Unit Award. Reserve Component Achievement Medal, 10th Award. Bronze Service Star, Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Iraq Campaign Medal with Campaign Star, Army Service Ribbon, Overseas Ribbon, 3rd Award, NATO Medal, and Parachutist Badge. Did I miss anything, Lieutenant Colonel? It is my great honor and privilege to introduce to you my friend and mentor, Lieutenant Colonel John Jack Mckenna.
Thank you, Allie. That just means that I'm really old, people. That's exactly what that means. Distinguished members, thank you very much. All you attending today, thank you for being part of today's Memorial Day ceremony. I'd especially like to thank my friend. As you all know now, Allie is a friend of mine. So as a result, I've got some inside information.
No, you don't.
There was supposed to be another speaker today, maybe a New England Patriot, but they're a little busy. But I want you to know, don't worry about it, I got it covered, because I used to coach Pop Warner, so we're all set. Good, I'm glad to see the smiles out there on such a beautiful day. It's okay to smile, folks. It's okay to enjoy the weekend. It really is. So, I work too, so I love 3-day weekends. As long as we remember what this weekend is about, as long as we remember what Memorial Day is about. In a recent article written online by Benjamin Sledge, the conversation about war and our veterans we refuse to have, there are some interesting points. One is that since the start of the Iraq and Afghanistan war, only 0.45% of Americans have served. Maybe that explains why numbers suggest that only 55% of people out there understand why we have Memorial Day. And a good percentage of those confuse Memorial Day with Veterans Day. So while most of you think of Memorial Day as the beginning of summer, and even get confused and thank veterans for their service, I get it. I know they're trying to be polite. But please, please don't. Today's the day to reflect, remember, and to never forget. In 2006, I was in Iraq, and I got to spend some time with a tactical PSYOP team run by a staff sergeant. And I was there for a few days, and I was amazed that after the missions, these guys would go back, they'd take their kits off, and then they were playing online. And I'm on the computer, I'm looking at it. And I go, well, that's Rock'em Sock'em Robots. So if you're as old as me, you know what Rock'em Sock'em Robots are, only they were playing it online. And they were going after each other like only soldiers can. If you saw it, it was a beautiful thing. They were bantering back and forth. It was unbelievable, making sure that I was taken care of. When they had a mission, boom, they were out there doing it. Staff Sergeant Michael Dickerson, who ran that TPT, died July 17th, 2006, by a sniper in Al Anbar province in Iraq. I remember. Fast forward a couple of years later, I'm a public affairs officer for Massachusetts. So, unfortunately, when there's a casualty in the Army, the state's National Guard assists the families. So our job was to assist with the media. We had a lot of casualties, so I could handle it pretty well. I was a professional after all. I was a lieutenant colonel. So most of the time, I did all right. It was a somber day until this one day in Taunton. In June of 2008, Army Sergeant Shane Duffy was killed. So standing at the front of the church, the family pulled up in the limousine, and they proceeded to exit the vehicle. And they all had scully caps on. And then finally, Mrs. Duffy took her baby out of the car, and the baby had a little scully cap on. I lost it. I couldn't function. I was crying. Luckily, there was another public affairs officer there with me to continue on. She just put her hand on my back. I remember. In trying to decide what to write for today, looking around, trying to get ideas, I came across this article about Gold Star families and thought that it really hit home the message I was trying to relay today. So if you allow me, Recently, Joanne Steele wrote an article in Military Times titled, "3 Things Gold Star Families Want You to Keep in Mind." 1, understand why there needs to be a Memorial Day. In today's world, some think Memorial Day is solely dedicated to the fallen from decades-old wars. While the sacrifices made by service members, Memorial Day needs to be a respectfully recognized holiday for all Americans, now and in years to come. There's a poignant message in the expression, freedom is not free. In our post-9/11 world, personal freedom can't be taken for granted. Memorial Day is a day for honoring those who have recently died as well. The second point is that know that service members die in many different ways every day, not just in war. So they die during training exercises. They die because of equipment failure, in accidents, or by suicide. All made the commitment to serve for the greater good of our country. And finally, the last point that they wanted you to know is reconsider Happy Memorial Day. It isn't uncommon to hear the phrase Happy Memorial Day bantered about. It's sent on emails. Oh, Happy Memorial Day, have a nice long weekend. Happy Memorial Day, have a nice long weekend. But it doesn't make it an appropriate thing to say, especially to our veterans and our Gold Star families. Let's replace it. Let's replace Happy Memorial Day with We Will Remember. I want to thank you for speaking today. God bless America, and we will remember.
The Acapella group will now sing My Country, 'Tis of Thee.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. My native country, thee, land of the noble free, thy name I love. I love thy rocks and rills, thy woods and templed hills. My heart with rapture thrills, like that above. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's pride, from
A roll call is a way of determining a count of people. It is a calling of names to determine those present or absent. It is commonly used in many different situations and by many different organizations. The roll call is common in classrooms, military organizations, political organizations, and prisons. However, for those of you lucky enough to have never heard a final roll call at a memorial service for a fallen member, it usually works like this. The unit's top non-commissioned officer calls the name of each service member in the lost members unit, leaving the name of the lost for last. The service members respond as their names are called. Then, the name of the fallen is called 3 times, with the last time being the individual's full name and rank. Of course, there is no answer. It is difficult to explain the powerful emotions felt when the lost service member fails to respond to his name being called. This roll call is a little bit different. This roll call is a collective list of veterans we have lost from May of last year until today. Please join me in remembering and honoring these fallen heroes. Thomas Slater, Air Force. Paul F. Tracy, Army. Paul Carlson Ramsey, Army. John H. Sloan, Army Air Corps. Michael R. Butler, Navy. Richard A. Silva, Air Force. George F. Snell, Jr., Army. Richard Begary, Army. Clifford Truick, Navy. Al Papianu, Army. Alan Emus, Navy. Garrett W. Pollister, Army. Alfred Damiani, Navy. John Collinary, Army. Ralph Hunt, Army. James Llewellyn, Air Force. Donald Phelps, Army. Edward Fox, Navy. Robert Savoy, Marines. Patrick Lyons, Navy. Robert Hopkins, Navy. Arnold Rita, Air Force. Emil Fenrick, Army. Joe DiMarzio, Army. Raymond Kaiser, Navy. Leo Lennox, Navy. If you notice, there's a wreath at each memorial along with a veteran and a scout standing beside it who will place the wreath at the memorial. At the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812 and the Mexican-American War is Staff Sergeant Derek Edgerton, USMC, and Logan Hawker from PAC 70. At the Civil War Memorial is Sergeant Lisa Plant, U.S. Army, and Liam Woods from PAC 70. Placing a wreath at the memorial for unknown soldiers is Jack Othlet, beloved town historian. At the World War I Memorial is Chief Warrant Officer 3 Adam Barnes, U.S. Army, and Enzo Tarara from PAC 70. World War II is Sergeant Josephine Miller, USMC, and Dylan Manley from Troop 7. At the Korea Memorial is Corporal John Jack Farmer, U.S. Army, and Brian Jensen, Troop 7. Placing the wreath at the Vietnam Memorial is Sergeant Ronald Rogers, U.S. Army, and David Costa, Troop 7. At the Cold War Memorial is Sergeant First Class Retired Janet Zongetti, U.S. Army, and Cooper Lawson from Troop 32. For the Gulf War, Staff Sergeant John Allen Grace, U.S. Army, and Sebastian Zerpa from Troop 32. And lastly, for the Global War on Terror Memorial is Sergeant First Class Retired Gus Rodriguez, U.S. Army, his service dog Heidi, and John Gonsalves from Troop 32. Veterans and Scouts, would you please place your wreaths at your respective memorials? Would you please remain standing for the benediction, please?
Thank you again, Foxboro, for being here today. Could we conclude with prayer? Heavenly Father, as we end this ceremony today, give us hearts that are thankful for all we have been blessed with. May we never take for granted our freedom, our right to life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness. Keep us mindful of these things and reverent to the memory of those who gave their lives for this sacred cause. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
I'd like to end this ceremony with one more musical interlude. Girls, when you're ready.
God bless America, a land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. And God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, a land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. And God bless America, my home, sweet home. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. And God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, girls, so much. I'd like to thank the following people and organizations for their hand in making this Memorial Day event happen. Mr. Feeney, Mr. Elfman, the Board of Selectmen, Mr. Keegan, Mr. Johns, VFW Post 2626 and Commander Wright, American Legion Post 93 and Commander Kosh, the Veteran Services Advisory Committee, the Foxborough Police Department and Chief Baker, Foxborough Fire Department and Chief Kelleher, U.S. Marine Recruiting Substation Foxborough, Connie Gonzalez, Tina Bellinger and Foxborough Scouting, Foxborough Cable Access, Foxborough Tree and Park, Terminal Bakery in Fall River, Foxborough High School Marching Band and Director Bush, Foxborough Regional Charter School, Church of the Emmanuel, Cahill Landscaping, Bagpiper Tom Thayer, and all of you who marched in the parade. And lastly, this is your open invitation to join us at Post 2626 for some great food and beverages. All are welcome, and I hope to see you there. Thank you to everyone for attending this event. God bless you, God bless this wonderful town, and God bless America. Thank you.